Hey guys, Pro1701 here, and today I have a patron review, and one of my patrons, anyone who subscribes to my Patreon at any tier level gets a free video request, and one of my entry level patrons, his request was for me to do a review of the Sontaran experiment, which is great with me. It's from my favorite season of Doctor Who of all time, season 12, Tom Baker's first story. It was nice to rewatch this one. The first time I ever saw it was actually when I first got my season 12 box set. I had never seen it before. I'd seen every other story from this season, just never this one. And while it is my least favorite story of the season, it's my favorite season of all time. Every story in this season is great. This one is nice. One of the reasons it works is it's only a two-parter, which is the perfect length for this one. If it had been a four-parter, I think it might have drug a little bit. I don't think the plot of the story could have sustained 4 parts, but it's nice as a two-parter. It's just the right length. Again, this isn't like essential Doctor Who. This certainly isn't anything that, if somebody was like, tell me the top 25 stories of Doctor Who, I'm not going to list this one, but it's still a good, fun story to watch. I believe this is the second story with the Sontarans. I think this is the first one since the Time Warrior. So this is the first story where they're actually a recurring villain. And was it Steyer? Is that this one's name? I get their names mixed up. I like him in it. The actor playing him, I think, does a pretty good job for the most part. I know he was in bad health at this point, and that kind of shows in the fight scenes. But the way he works his makeup and everything is fine. The makeup is fine in this one. I mean, it's not as good as the makeup in the modern series, of course. But it's fine. Harry's good in this. I love how he keeps calling Sarah old girl and old thing. Are you alright, old thing? I was like, man, Harry, you get slapped these days trying to do that. I always like Harry. He's so old-timey British. I absolutely love it. I love the Doctor in this. He has a lot of those Fourth Doctor moments, those Fourth Doctorisms, as I call them. Like when he's telling Sarah and Harry to go wander off so he can work on the little portal thing. It's like, Trafalgar Fair's that way, even though nobody's lived on the planet for thousands of years. I love that. I like when the other people on the planet catch him. They're like, all right, talk. And he's like, certainly. What would you like to talk about? With that Tom Baker grin of his. It's a very Tom Baker, it's a very Fourth Doctor thing to say, and I love that. And then my favorite bit is when he's talking to Harry, when he's explaining to Harry why Steyer's shot didn't kill him, and he shows him, I had this piece of metal from Merla Station, yes. Never throw anything away, always remember that. And then he's like, where's my 500-year diary? Never clutter up your pockets. I absolutely love the contradiction there. First he tells him, never throw anything away. Then he's like, never clutter up your pockets. Because it's a complete contradiction. And it is the Fourth Doctor to a T. And I love it. To me, that's the Doctor. When I think of quintessential qualities and characteristics of a Doctor, it's little things like that. It's one of the reasons why, like, when people tell me Capaldi's their favorite Doctor, I never get it. I don't get it. I mean, nothing against their opinion. People are entitled to whatever their favorite Doctor is whatever their favorite Doctor is. I'm not knocking anybody. But I don't quite get it, because as much as I like Capaldi, especially late in his run, he doesn't have those Doctorisms that I like, that like Tom Baker has. Like that little moment right there, that's the Doctor. That's quintessentially stuff the Doctor does. Troughton did a lot of that. Tennant and Smith did a lot of that. Like John didn't do a lot of that, but I still love John, so I guess every Doctor doesn't have to do it for me to love him. John's a very serious Doctor. But for Tom, it's perfect. It's probably the reason why he's my favorite Doctor. I just love him in this one. The fight scene at the end is bad. Let's just be honest, it's bad. One, the guy playing the Sontaran, again, had a heart problem. He died not long after this. I'm sure that was restricting his movement, plus the outfit he was having to wear and the makeup. And plus, Tom had broken his collarbone. And it's very obviously not Tom in a lot of shots. It's his stunt double with just some close-ups of Tom thrown in. And you can tell the close-ups are trying to hide this part of his arm, because there's that left arm that got broke. And you can actually tell in a couple scenes the way he's got his arm tucked like this, that it's probably in a sling under his coat, hiding his hand under his scarf. And it's especially noticeable when you know it happened. I mean, when you're aware of the behind-the-scenes stuff going on there, it's painfully obvious when you're watching it. But it's still a fun watch. I enjoy it. Poor Sarah has some more screaming time. As much as I love Sarah, she does get damseled in distress a little more than I like, and brainwashed a little more than I like. That's not in this story. But Yeah, I like this one. It's a good not palate cleanser. It's like it comes right between the Ark in Space and Genesis of the Daleks, which are two of the best Doctor Who stories ever made. And it's like when you go to a really good restaurant and the Ark in Space is the really good appetizer. Appetizer just gets you ready for that main course. And instead of the main course coming right out, you get a little break between the appetizer and the main course. Like say you eat your appetizer, and then you have a little bit of time that you can kind of sip on your drink and chat with your friends. You know, have a little time. Maybe you're there with 2 or 3 or 4 friends. You're having a good time laughing and cutting up a little bit. Well, maybe not cutting up, but, you know, you're enjoying yourself. And then the main course comes out, and that's Genesis of the Daleks. The Sontaran experiment is that little break in between. It's a really bad analogy, isn't it? It's that little break in between when you're just enjoying yourself. Again, it's not essential Doctor Who, but it's still a fun watch, especially for a 2-parter. And I like that part at the end when the Doctor tells Harry how to set up the machine so where it'll kill Steyer. And when Sarah's like, what happened? The Doctor's just like, I don't know, ask Harry, he did it. Again, it's very 4th Doctor. I love the effect of Steyer just kind of deflating like a balloon. That's a pretty neat little effect, especially for classic Who. And I love how the Doctor explains it. Well, he tried to feed off, you know, occasionally he feeds off energy. And without that piece right there, instead the energy fed off him, which really sums up exactly what happened. It just drained him, his life force right out of him. And that was really neat. I enjoyed it. The Sontaran experiment is a good story. It's probably in last place on my season 12, but it's still a good watch, mostly because it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's nice going from, you have Robot, which is a fun romp and a great introduction to the 4th Doctor. Then you have the Ark in Space, which is a classic. Then you get this as a nice little break between Ark in Space and Genesis. You get to kind of enjoy yourself. It shows a nice little triangle going on between the companions. You get to see the Dr. Harry and Sarah really working together. It's nice to have a completely outside story here. I really wish the location footage for this still existed on film. I would have loved to have seen this in true HD. It's a shame that the film elements for this episode don't exist anymore, because that would have been lovely. And then, of course, you move into, it gets you ready for Genesis, which is amazing. And then, into Revenge of the Cybermen, which is fantastic as well. It's a very underrated story, as I mentioned before. So, yeah, I really enjoy it. Have you seen the Sontaran experiment? What do you think of it? Do you think it's one of the better Sontaran stories? I do. This, to me, is another way that shows how classic Who treated the Sontarans so much better. I've complained before how in modern Who, outside of their first appearance in Series 4, the Sontarans have not gotten the respect they deserve. I don't know if it's just because of their design. They get treated more as comic relief, like with Strax and stuff. And I don't mind Strax in a bubble, but I don't like how he's kind of ruined the Sontarans for the show. I'm worried people who have only seen the modern series will go back and watch this story, and they won't take it seriously because they'll think Steyer is a joke. Oh, it's a Sontaran. When, they were this close in the story to launching an invasion fleet. And the Sontarans, they don't care about people. They don't really have emotions, really. You don't really see them use them. When he's experimenting on the people, he's killing these people just to test their endurance for his battlefield information, for his report. He chained one guy up for 9 days until the guy died. That's not comic relief. That's a terrible way to die. And another guy almost got his chest crushed in by a weight and another guy got drowned. It mentions the guy who got drowned survived for 3 minutes when submerged in water. That's terrible. The Sontarans can be terrifying, and the modern Who doesn't just modern Who does not do it. It does not. Outside of their first appearance in the Sontaran stratagem, they don't get the respect they deserve. This story treats them right, and you can actually, if you really pay attention, and if you've never seen this story, or if you don't watch a lot of classic Who, take all your preconceptions that modern Who gave you about the Sontarans right out the window, and watch the story with open eyes. It's freaking terrifying when you realize what happened to all the other people who were on that planet. Anyway, what do you think of the Sontaran experiment? Let me know, comment down below. I would love to have your opinion on this. Again, if you have a video you would like me to do, check out my Patreon page. There is a link to that down below. You can join my Patreon page for just $2 a month. The entry level is only $2 a month, and that does get you a free video request. All new patrons get a free video request at any tier level. I also have a $5 tier level, a $10, $15, and a $20. They each get you different perks and bonuses. For the entire month of May, I am actually suspending, I'm actually allowing access to a lot of other stuff that the entry-level tiers do not get access to normally. You can vote in polls, you can see behind-the-scenes videos, alternate takes, bloopers, stuff like that. You pretty much have access to everything, with the exception of extra video requests. Those are only at the higher tiers. But everything else you have access to for just $2 a month or $5 a month, whatever you're comfortable with donating. So if there's a video you would like me to do, check that out and see if there's anything there that interests you. Other things to do, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications. And for the Fly Attractor, I hope you've enjoyed my review of this story. I'd like to know your opinion of this story. Most importantly, stay safe out there. And thank you for watching.